Back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. May the four victims rest in peace. Condolence to the families. Gerard Corsi at Hardcore Hangout 12M. Investigators today are concentrating on the highly unusual type trigger warning of mutilation of one of the victims and the possible reasons why this person was singled out for such exceptional post-mortem brutality. Again goes to motive and identity. So this was in the beginning of the case. So the investigators today are concentrating highly unusual type of mutilation on one of the victims and the possible reasons why this person was singled out for such exceptional post-mortem brutality. Again goes to motive and identity. May the rest in peace. I personally believe that it was Maddie, because I heard rumors in the beginning that unfortunately Maddie was mutilated. That was the rumors that were going on. It was just rumors and speculations. And then you see this reporter writing that in the beginning. It was Kaylee's family who came out and said that Kaylee had over 52 stab wounds and she was injured the most. The coroner said it was gouges, stab wounds. I just have a feeling that when Kaylee and Maddie came home, Ethan and Xana were already unalived, or they were on the way of passing out. Maddie was already in trouble because Maddie told Adam something she wasn't supposed to tell, and that must have kicked it off. But at the same time, I believe Maddie was a mean girl. May she rest in peace. It depends how you see it, and I don't mean to be rude, but Maddie was involved in many allegedly bullying incidents and hazing incidents. 13 days before the unalivings, it was Halloween, and we saw how DM was treated. It's still on Maddie's TikTok. That's not something to ignore. So it depends. Could one of the surviving roommates have been involved? I've always said that. Was this an inside job? Was one of the surviving roommates maybe working with the frats? Do you remember what the 4chan said? At 2:15 a.m. in the morning, the surviving roommates, Dylan, heard rummaging upstairs and she thought it was the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. What a coincidence. Footsteps don't tell names. How did she know? She had to have seen them to know that it was the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. This unalivings was personal. It was brutal. It was bloody. And there was blood everywhere, splashed on the walls. I remember Fox News saying that. I remember ABC News saying that it was a bloody scene. That's why I don't believe it's one person who could have committed 4 brutal unalivings. I believe some of the victims were tortured. And the reason I say that is Dateline told us that Ethan's legs was carved. How could somebody's legs be carved while he was sleeping? This speaks so much trash. So I believe Maddie and Kaylee came home with the Uber driver. When they walked in, there was already commotion. Ethan was already unalived. Xana was on her way, I believe. And then this started on Maddie and Kaylee. Unless Maddie and Kaylee came home and Xana and Ethan were maybe fighting outside with other people. So the girls went to their room. Or is that what they want us to believe? That DMBF, Maddie and Kaylee were sitting and talking about carbonado. I find that, sorry guys with the camera, I really find that hard to believe. Something happened to Maddie and Kaylee after the 10 calls to Jack D. Because at 2:53, Maddie is clearly calling BF. She needed help. At 2:55, we hear a female yelling, "Stop it, stop," from the police's body cam. So something's happening there. And then at 3:12, you see the figures running. And the Banfield boys are still in Banfield. And I believe they came from unaliving Ethan and Xana. Like Ethan's mother said, 2 a.m. is the hardest time for us. That's what she meant. Maisie and Hunter Chapin, the triplets who obviously call and tell the mother exactly what happened. But I believe all these parents are threatened not to talk. So unfortunately, if Maddie was mutilated, and I've heard of that many times, and if Ethan's legs was unfortunately carved, are they trying to tell us that BK had so much time to go mutilate the poor victims and carve their legs? I don't think so. Brian Koberger wouldn't have time to mutilate one of the victims and to stab the other one over 52 times, and then to carve Ethan's legs, and then to fight Xana. I don't think Brian could have done all this by himself. I don't think he was even there when it happened. Just trying to figure out how he got caught in this mess. This white truck is either David Lodge, because he has a white truck exactly like that, or Jack D. I believe it's David Lodge, because Jack D's inside the corner club and Maddie and Kaylee are walking. The same truck is at Kings Road at 156, standing and waiting there. Let's not forget, Maddie and Kaylee come home at 156. Was Jack D, David Lodge, Adam in this white truck? They could have just worn masks and come attack them, in my opinion, if they had beef. This could have been about drugs, about money, about revenge, jealousy. It was really personal. I'm just scrolling what's happening on the timelines. This is for fair use purpose. This is from Plunder, his channel. She's an excellent YouTuber. This is what David Barachi, David Lott, and Sigma Chi and the frats were writing in the beginning of the case. Our fraternity turned over everything we know, which is just about as much as everything else. And no, we weren't making statements about it because we are trying to respectfully, but being accused of this broke me. And so I'm making the statement about myself specifically. So this is David B. talking, Biracho. Tell me why you guys originally lied and said Ethan and Xana had only been at the frat party for 2 hours, and then realized you guys got caught lying and tied up in a PR nightmare, so reverse course and said, oh yeah, they were actually there all night. Really odd, dude. Wow, did you all understand that? So I think Plunder asks him, tell me why you guys originally lied and said E and Xana had only been at the frat party for 2 hours, and then realized you guys got caught lying and tied up in a PR nightmare, so reverse course and said, oh yeah, They were actually there all night. Really odd dude. Wow. So the Sigma Chi fraternity, I remember they were under the microscope in the beginning and they were lying a lot. But I never knew that they only said 2 hours, that Ian and Xana were at the frat party for 2 hours. No, they weren't. They were allegedly there from 9. 8 to 9, they were at the Betty Ball party. And then from 9 to 1:45, they should have been at the Sigma Chi fraternity. David Barach is lying. So this was what David Barach was doing on the internet. He was arguing with people, saying that the 4chan is a lie and that the Sigma Chi frats had nothing to do with this. But they were yet under the microscope. He was being accused for being this person in the mask, and it does look like him in a way. There are actually some people supporting him. I feel so awful for you. I can't imagine what you must be going through right now. I hope you find a way to keep the negativity out. He says, thanks, I appreciate it. These people really don't faze me. They know nothing about me or the community or the victims. Everyone actually in the Vandal community knows I'm innocent. I don't need Twitter to take my side. My question is, why are you on Twitter then? David Barachi, why were you the one who was talking the loudest? David Lodge has been quiet, but David Barachi was everywhere, arguing with people, discussing the 4chan. And we know that David Baracho was Ethan's tutor, and he wasn't doing a good job with it. David Lodge wanted Xana for himself, and he was on steroids. And Ethan called him a shrivel, B-A-L-L-S. So he kicked off at the Sigma Chi fraternity. DM and BF, I heard, were at the Sigma Chi fraternity party. But I've also heard that DM was at home with a boyfriend, Quinn Kelly, although he says he wasn't there. Many people were taking pictures with Moss that night, especially at 3:30. Venmos was going around at 3:30, some at 2:15, like Saeed. They had a bet, they were bidding. I showed you all the picture yesterday, and it was David Barachu who was behind the bidding. Look at what they wrote upstairs. God gives his most fucked up, terrible men to his most beautiful women. So this was on December 12, 2022. David Barachu didn't even care. He was running his mouth on social media. Over here he's talking about the 4chan. All of this over 4chan thread that no one can validate, question mark, question mark, question mark. I did ask Hope, one of these kids that everyone's accusing them, someone to quote for defamation and slander. This is insane. Last week it was the roommates and Jack, and this week 2 guys named in a 4chan thread. So this is someone trying to back him up and please him. Let me answer you, whoever's talking to David Baracho on this comment. It's not about accusing different people. All the people who were acting funny that night need to be checked. And I don't think it was 1 or 2 people who did this crime. I think there were plenty of people there. The 4 figures running, the 3 boys on Banfield, the surviving roommates, if not more. There was already 3 male DNAs found in the house, and then there's 3 mixed male DNAs found under Maddie's nail. And yes, where was Jack D? His alibi doesn't make sense. He was sleeping, and he missed Chen calls. Where was Jack Showalter? In Boise, Idaho? At his grandparents' cabin? Or did he go to Africa, like it was said, Kenya, South Africa? Where did he go? He's an expert in psycho behaviors. I hate to say that. He was thrown out of his flat for sexual harassment towards women. Kaylee got him kicked out of the corner club. So Showalter has always been involved. Jack D, I have questions. Why is his face so swollen and his hands? Why did he have a band-aid on his hand? Why didn't he answer the calls of Maddie and Kaylee? Was he trying to make an alibi for himself? Allegedly. So the 4chan, David B and David Lodge, has told on y'all properly. All these incidents started around 2:15. That's when DM heard rummaging upstairs, and she knew it was the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. They came for Kaylee and Maddie. And they came for Zana and Ethan. It's not defamation if it's the truth. People have these two Davids on the run with their tails tucked in between. Couldn't be happier. That's good. I'm literally responding to you from the comfort of my bedroom. I'm not on the run. Yeah, that's the problem, David B. You're not on the run because you have the university, the college, maybe law enforcement. You have somebody backing you up, in my opinion. But y'all know what y'all did. In November 2022, 13th November, David B had fascinations of unaliving people. You could see pictures, horrific pictures, of people in the morgue. You see the dead bodies lying in the morgue. And he's a very intelligent guy. He has a degree in physics and, I don't know, a lot of science and such things. He's a genius in his own way. But he was fascinated with such things. And he and David Lodge were buddies, allegedly, according to Ethan. And Ethan called him a steroid head. So by calling someone a steroid head, butt buddies, basically GAY, and such things, in a frat party where David Lodge thinks really highly of himself, and they're playing gangsters, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to end up in rage. And then you have Showalter, who's kicked out of the corner club because of Maddie and Kaylee, especially Kaylee. Then he gets kicked out from his frat because of Ethan and Zana. And then they ditch him at the corner club. And he's not really stable. The girl who worked with him in the flatbread in Boise, Idaho, told us that. She said she had to slap him to get him out of her way. She said he was very rude to females. I'm talking about no one else but John, Jack, Roger, Showalter. He was unaliving coyotes. You have David B, who's fascinated about unalivings. And then you have Showalter, who's getting kicked out of the frats for harassing women. He's a skilled hunter, junior professional wrestler. You have Jack D, who's an axe thrower. All these people were in rage. I believe this was all about rugs, money, bullying, hazing, hate, revenge, jealousy, crime of passion. All the above is involved, in my opinion. They're still continuing the conversation. This is David Baracho, Ethan's tutor. I think you should watch out for the bros in your frat. Whether you did it or not, someone knows way too much about you and David Lodge and posting it online. Someone has been harassing us because you true crime fanatics will not let it go. Who is saying these things? Well, I do not know why it's happening. He knows. David Baracho, you and David Lodge was busy. That's why I believe Dave, who called T-Rev. I'm sure y'all was the one who wanted to know how to get away with murder. allegedly. Over here it says Ethan is our brother, you don't know us, you don't know us on our community. Stop replying to me as though you knew these relationships better than us. No fight between, but some of y'all did not like Ethan. Somebody else him on top. Yes, it was about Ethan and Zana. They were jealous of them, I believe. So David Baracho says, there was no fight. No, David didn't stay at my place. He's talking about David Lott. Did not stay at my place. We both live in the fraternity house, but reside in different apartments. And no, there was nothing to witness. So he's trying to say, me and David Lott live in our separate rooms at the Sigma Chi fraternity. We all went to our rooms and nothing happened. That's a lie, because many people witnessed the fight. The fight was Ethan, Zana against David Lott and David Baracho. And they did it in 19 minutes. We saw the figures running at 3:12. Maddie Morgan is calling BF at 2:53. You hear the female yelling, stop it, stop, at 2:55. So if you count from 2:53 to 3:12, I think it's 19 minutes. Definitely. I really believe David Lodge, David Baracho are involved. They're singing even the country songs. Take me home to a place I belong. Strange. They were torturing these students, in my opinion. You have David Baracho with the black tie on the right-hand corner, the short guy, and you have David Lott with the blue shirt and the blue tie and the white mask in the middle. You have the whole Sigma Chi fraternity here. I think these are the seniors. Gongalves said his daughter's injuries definitely did not match Morgan's wounds. But wasn't Maddie Morgan mutilated? They may have individually died from the exact same thing, being stabbed, but there are more details he added. They're not even close to matching. The knife slashed open Kaylee's, Gongalves' liver, lungs, he said. It's heartbreaking. They're just being cowards. There are girls walking around the streets right now that deserve to know. They should be looking out for sadistic male. Look out for hoodie guy, in my opinion. The grieving father paid for a copy of his daughter's death certificate, which included some of the details of her injuries, but he doesn't know whether his daughter or Morgan were the targets. I have my own suspicion, however, he said. So he did his own autopsy. He did his own private autopsy, and Kaylee's wounds were really bad. The knife slashed open Kaylee Gongalves' liver and lungs, he said. Why were these people paying each other Venmos at 3:30? And why was Dylan uploading pictures at 3:33? That was the hour. In the 911 transcript, everything went quiet from when Maddie Morgan called Bethany Funk at 9:53. At 2:53. From 2:53 to 3:52, 58, 59 minutes, everything is quiet. That is when DM is creating a contact. That's when they're using social media. That's when DM is downloading on VSCO app. Strange. The surviving roommates were in an inside job, I believe. They had to be part of it. Where was Bethany Funk? And I escapoto evidence. Was she with BK in his car? Allegedly? Anything is possible. I believe the frats was involved, Sigma Chi, Phi, Twitter, now they call. the one with the Banfield boys. Believe they're involved. Believe the surviving roommates are involved in an inside job, in my opinion. I hope y'all enjoyed this content. This is under fair use purpose. You can watch it in Plunder is clips, her old clips. I found it very interesting that David Baracho was running his mouth. He was actually everywhere on Twitter, he was on Facebook, he was on YouTube, trying to prove that they're innocent. So I found that to be strange. We never heard of David Lodge, and we never heard of Showalter. He kept quiet. He went to his family's cabin. We don't know what happened after that. Let me know what y'all think. But I think that the 4chan is completely on point. And I think that Dave, who called T-Rev, I really believe was maybe Koberger trying to snitch on them. Or maybe it was another frat guy who was watching what they did and he called himself Dave. The surviving roommates need to answer what were they up to. They were calling, they were creating contacts. The phone went silent for a whole hour, 59 minutes. What were they doing? Creating contacts. DM was uploading pictures on VSCO, anonymous. Somebody was using Kaylee's phone, uploading pictures, the picture that she took on the 12th. If you go to Instagram, Kaylee's Instagram, you'll see it was uploaded on the 13th. Who uploaded it? And a LinkedIn account was deleted 13 hours after the police were called. So 11:30 on the 13th of November, late at night, it was deleted, according to Alivida. Let me know what you'll think, but I really believe it's just two separate incidents. I've never changed my mind since I first came out with that theory. The first one was true to 2:20, I believe. 2:15, DM heard rummaging upstairs. Let's not forget. The 4chan said that, if that is true. Something's not right to the surviving roommates. They would have smelled the blood. The front door was wide open. Why didn't they call for 911? They were calling their fathers. They're calling the mothers. They were creating numbers. Is DM a reliable witness? What did number 9 put in Maddie's mouth? All those things are interesting for me. Please let me know what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a lovely evening.